Hey, welcome to our explainer. Today we are diving deep into a really cool idea from the Unified Harmonic Systems manuscript. It tackles a huge question. In a universe that seems so chaotic, how does all this incredible order just emerge? Well, what if it all comes down to something as simple as things just finding a common rhythm? Okay, let's just jump right in with a question. You've seen this happen, right? Why do fireflies in a dark forest all start blinking in perfect unison? Or, on a much grander scale, why do the planets in our solar system settle into these elegant, predictable orbits? It's not a coincidence. There's a fundamental principle at work here, happening all around us and even inside of us, all the time. It all begins with something the source material calls a harmonic handshake. This is that very first moment, that initial interaction, where two completely independent things start to notice each other. It all happens through a process called coupling. So the idea here is that anything with a rhythm, and I mean anything, from a tiny spinning electron to a giant orbiting planet, doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It's constantly creating a field around itself, sending out these subtle ripples that basically carry the signature of its own unique beat. Now, when those ripples from one thing overlap with the ripples from another, that's coupling. They start to interact. And it's not like a collision, it's more like two different songs starting to blend together in the same room. A dialogue of forces begins, and suddenly each one can feel the beat of the other. And this is what's so cool, the simple before and after. On the left, you've got two systems just doing their own thing, totally unaware of each other. But on the right, once their fields start to overlap, they become coupled. From that moment on, their rhythms, and you could say their destinies, are totally intertwined. Okay, so that harmonic handshake is just the very beginning. That's the introduction. But where does that conversation lead? Well, it builds towards something way more profound, a shared, single, unified rhythm. You might think that when two rhythms start to interact, it would just create a chaotic mess, right? But it's the exact opposite. This dialogue has a surprisingly predictable and incredibly powerful outcome. These systems actually guide each other toward a state of what the source calls mutual agreement. They find a single tempo they can both agree on. And this lays out the process perfectly. You start with two similar but separate beats. Then they start to influence each other. And here's the crucial part. Energy literally flows from the system that's a little bit ahead to the one that's a little bit behind, kind of pulling it into alignment. And the final step? Phase locking. Boom. They are now moving as one, dancing to the exact same beat. So here's the main takeaway from all this. According to the UHS manuscript, this isn't a fluke. It's not some happy accident that happens every once in a while. It's described as a fundamental, unavoidable command of nature, a universal harmonic directive. Now, this is where things get really, really wild. What happens when we scale this idea up? What if it's not just a simple duet between two things, but a full-blown orchestra with millions or even billions of players all influencing each other? Well, that simple rule of phase locking doesn't just stay local. It cascades. It spreads like a wave through entire networks, creating layers and layers of organization. The simple duet becomes a quartet, which grows into a symphony, forming these incredibly complex, stable, and hierarchical structures on a truly cosmic scale. And these huge resonant networks don't just form random blobs. They build specific, stable architectures. The source material has names for them, like harmonic shells, which are sort of like assigned lanes on a cosmic highway. Within those, you find orbital families, which are groups of things moving together. And connecting it all are resonant ladders, the mathematical rules that lock everything into one big, stable, elegant structure. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. We can literally see this cosmic orchestra playing out right here in our own solar system. Just look at Jupiter's three biggest moons. For every single orbit that Ganymede makes, Europa makes exactly 2 and Io makes exactly 4. It's a perfect clockwork-like 1 to 2 to 4 rhythm. And the source tells us exactly why this happens. Their gravitational fields are in a constant dialogue. That harmonic handshake forces them into the most stable, most energy-efficient pattern possible. That 1 to 2 to 4 resonance is not an accident, it's the path of least resistance. It's a perfect dance locked in by the laws of physics. Okay, so what's the big finale here? What does this all mean? Well, these resonant networks are more than just pretty patterns. The UHS framework says they are the actual blueprint for physical reality itself. Think about it like this. Before you construct a skyscraper, you need the blueprints, right? You need the scaffolding.
The theory here is that these organized, resonant energy fields are that blueprint. They are the invisible scaffolding that tells physical matter where to go and how to assemble itself into the tangible world we can see and touch.
This quote from Module 2 really says it all. This is the critical jump. These pathways of synchronized energy, these harmonic corridors, they eventually harden into things like chemical bonds and physical structures. It's a truly mind-blowing concept, and it sets us up perfectly for our next explainer, where we're going to jump into Module 3 and look at exactly how that incredible process works.
So we're left with this huge, kind of paradigm-shifting question. If resonance is the fundamental rule that organizes energy into these complex, beautiful, and stable patterns, could it be that the universe isn't really made of things at all, but is actually made of rhythms? Something to think about.